Four superstars of the 2017 NBA Summer League. My name is Josh, your Envyerz. These four player performances might not translate that well into the actual NBA, their first few seasons in the league, but they look nice after a few games, hence me making this video. Let's jump right in and talk about Donovan Mitchell, the 13th pick in the 2017 NBA draft, selected by Utah. I had no idea that this guy was going to show out in Summer League the way he did. He's looking like a nice solid glue guy for this Utah Jazz team that just lost Gordon Hayward and a possible superstar after these few games that I watched them play in Summer League. The man led the Summer League in steals per game in the Utah outing, playing 3 games and averaging 3 steals per game, and in the Las Vegas outing where he played 2 games and averaged 6 steals per game. He can flat out score too. And although the Utah Jazz might not be in the best position moving forward in this year's NBA playoffs, considering they lost their best player in Gordon Hayward, they lost George Hill, who was an underrated point guard in the NBA, and they replaced him with Ricky Rubio, that doesn't seem like a playoff contending team to me. And especially in the Western Conference, Utah Jazz fans still have something to cheer about with the performance of Donovan Mitchell in Summer League, and here's hoping he could translate into his first year in the rookie season. Let's move on from the 13th pick to the 14th pick in the 2017 NBA draft and talk about Bam Adebayo. In the Orlando outing, he was a top 5 point leader, 17 points per game, and he was in top 3 in the rebound category as well. Then in the Vegas outing later on, he averaged around the same points, 15 points per game, almost 9 rebounds per game. If he could just put up a solid 10 and 10, 10 points, 10 rebounds per game, him and Hassan Whiteside, that's going to be a nice little combo. I don't really understand the Kelly Olynyk signing for the Miami Heat, but I like the fact that they got a nice rookie in Bam, who I didn't really see this when watching Kentucky games from him. I honestly thought Bam would be a raw prospect that any team that would end up drafting him would have to, take a few years down the line to get him into that starting rotation. But if he shows out the way he did in Summer League, he could be starting for this Miami Heat this season or possibly next year, especially with the Chris Bosh problem, his health problems, him being away from the Miami Heat. Hopefully Bam gets a lot of PT this season. Moving on, let's talk about a player who wasn't even drafted this year. He was actually undrafted last year, and his name is Bryn Forbes, which just so happened to be the #1 point leader in the Utah Summer League and the #3 point leader in the Las Vegas Summer League, with 21 points per game in Utah and 26 points per game in Las Vegas. The man can flat out shoot the basketball. He's a little bit undersized for a shooting guard, but in the age of positionless basketball, I'm sure that really won't matter. He was already a good shooter before the Spurs picked him up, but knowing Popovich and the Spurs, he'll probably be a great shooter by the time money's on the table and he has to pick what team he wants to go to. Being a solid role player for the San Antonio Spurs can possibly be a dangerous thing, considering, do you remember a guy named Gary Neal, Thiago Splitter, Aaron Baines, Boban Marjanovic? I don't really remember them, and half of those dudes I mentioned aren't even in the league anymore. But we're focusing on the future, not now. And right now, Bryn Forbes is making a solid case to be that starting point guard for the San Antonio Spurs when Tony Parker is out until like January or something along those lines. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with him. Lastly, Kyle Kuzma of the Los Angeles Lakers. He was drafted this year, 27th pick overall. And looking at that Lakers draft picks this year, honestly, it was pretty solid. I mean, they got the #2 pick, Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma with 27, Josh Hart with the 30th pick, and then Thomas Bryant, who I don't think they've signed yet, but is a solid center. Hopefully they do end up signing him, because that draft class for the Lakers this year, it's nice. Looking back at the draft, it's really nice, and Kyle Kuzma showed that he could ball out. I mean, he was the Summer League Finals MVP. Lonzo Ball was the Summer League MVP. I'm not sure if this is the effect of Lonzo Ball already making his teammates better, or if Kyle Kuzma was really this good and people just passed on him that much in the NBA draft this year. Winning the Finals MVP of Summer League could mean a lot, but at the same time it could mean absolutely nothing, considering last year Tyus Jones won it. He averaged like 4 points per game that season. Previous year after that, Kyle Anderson won it. He averaged like 4 points per game that season. So here's hoping Kyle Kuzma is able to show out his rookie season, get some PT, and the Lakers look like they have a nice core a nicer core than they had last year and the year before that. So they just keep adding to the young talent, and hopefully it pays off for them in the future. With that said, these 4 players were the Summer League superstars in my opinion. Let me know any players that I may have missed in the comments section below. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed, and check out some of the other videos on screen right now. Follow me on Twitter at Envyerz, links in the description if you want to chat it up about basketball or anything else as well. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.